Can you give me a prediction for when I'm talking to you this time, 2027? Where will Harry and Meghan be?
Stripped of their titles.
Meghan Markle is threatening to sue the British royal family and Prince William if her titles are removed.
Harry could be coming back to be a working member.
That's just conspiratorial crap.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. These two are grifters who are all about the money, who had the biggest opportunity in the world to turn around other people's lives, and they do not give a damn.
Picture this. It's the year 2027, and you're sitting down, wondering where on earth will Harry and Meghan be this time? Will Harry have made a grand return to royal duties, stepping back into the spotlight as a full working member of the family? The possibilities swirl like a storm, but public opinion isn't exactly welcoming every move they make. Over in Norfolk, the local reaction is fierce. Women there have spoken out clearly, voicing their displeasure about Andrew's potential arrival. Just recently, voices echoed, "We don't want him here, he's a terrible person." That leaves the palace in a real predicament. Where do you place someone like Andrew? It feels less like a question of if he'll be stripped of royal status and more about when.
They're basically manipulating their position for their own personal gain. I think this is a very serious moment for the monarchy, actually. I think, far more than Andrew or anything else, these are the people that are likely to really damage it.
The pressure mounts to remove Harry and Meghan's royal titles. Too many see them as a growing risk, a kind of ticking time bomb within the monarchy. History offers a sharp warning. Look at what Fergie and Andrew's decades of turmoil have cost the crown. It's a cautionary tale begging not to be forgotten or repeated. Meanwhile, King Charles stands at a crossroads. He must realize that the choices he makes today carry profound consequences. By sidelining Harry this way, he might be setting a trap for Prince William, leaving him to grapple with a complicated relationship with his younger brother for years to come. The royal family's future hangs in a delicate balance. Imagine a rival royal court setting up shop right in the heart of the United Kingdom. That's essentially where Prince Harry finds himself now, because let's be honest, what else does he really have to do? This isn't just about geography, it's about purpose, influence, and belonging. And then there's Lauren. The whole picture is even more complicated. Harry, frankly, has very little standing left in America. His opportunities for meaningful work are scarce. His public endeavors, especially charitable ones, have failed to gain traction on the other side of the Atlantic. The foundation that should support him is fragile at best. On top of all that, his marriage appears to be deeply troubled, a shadow hanging over his personal life. The reality is stark. He's deeply unhappy.
Is there any world in which Harry and Meghan walk back into England and the royal family and take up duties, in your mind?
Disneyland, perhaps? No, I don't think there is. I think it's gone too far. I think Charles is keen to have a rapprochement with Harry before he dies, and I think Harry is keen on that too. But I think the relationship between William and Harry is just...
This recent decision about his security detail carries a heavy weight. It practically guarantees that we're going to see a lot more of Harry back on British soil, much more than anyone imagined or hoped for. And for Prince William, who's working tirelessly behind the scenes to maintain the integrity and stability of the monarchy, this is nothing short of a nightmare. The fragile balance that holds the monarchy's reputation is suddenly under renewed pressure. What makes this even more intense is the fact that this scandal has been lurking right in front of us for years, disguised, overlooked, and under the surface. Back in 2011, when I was working in a senior role at News of the World, one of Rupert Murdoch's now defunct newspapers, we exposed photos that shook the public. Remember those images of Jeffrey Epstein with Prince Andrew in Central Park? They weren't just pictures. They revealed a tangled web of relationships and secrets that have been quietly shaping the backdrop of these royal dramas for well over a decade. The shadows cast then are still very much impacting the royal family today, and the implications keep unfolding. York, yes, the same York protected by elite royal officers, guardians dedicated to the safety of the crown. Do you start to catch what I'm trying to say here? This is the crossroads where the reality hits home. Imagine this, just tomorrow, all three of these figures, separated by miles, stand poised in the eyes of the law, each maintaining their place in the line of succession.
We knew this day was coming. We knew that he was going to want to leave and to have his life back. We knew that that freedom flight was nothing but a fraud of a flight that he was taking. And so now Harry has confirmed that, hey, I want to go back.
Meghan, this is historic. There has not been a crisis like this in 90 years.
It's a powerful image, 3 pillars that symbolize a heritage, a legacy still unbroken. Now, hold those 3 steadfast columns in your mind, strong and immovable, and place them next to the promise that keeps being sold to the public, the one about stripping them of their titles by 2027. That phrase, when fully unpacked, represents nothing more than the fate of column 1, the harsh truth. What's really being described here is a scenario where the individual retains merely the letterhead, the official insignia, and the tiniest detail printed on an envelope. It's almost absurd. The very punishment echoing through the halls of the internet cheers this severe consequence that everyone seems eager for is ironically the smallest blow of all. It's the one thing a man could potentially endure in a single afternoon, hardly enough to derail a lifetime. I know exactly what many of you might be thinking right now, those whispers of doubt and frustration circling your mind, and you're not wrong to feel that way. This has been, ever since the Sussexes stepped away, there's been a cycle that repeats every single year like clockwork.
The Virginia Giuffre book, Prince Andrew believed it was his birthright to have sex with me. It's a horrible, horrible quote. It shows just how entitled this man really was to these things.
Each summer, fresh rumors surface, confidently pinning a new date, a moment supposedly marked for some kind of monumental return or reunion. But as the heat of the season fades, those dates quietly disappear, slipping off the calendar without so much as a whisper or acknowledgement. No formal announcement, no official explanation, just an unspoken retreat. So, after all these years of this revolving door of hopes and expectations, why should anyone place their trust in another prediction? Why should we lend credibility to what feels like an endless loop of disappointed promises? If I'm honest, and I want to be completely upfront here, there's a harsher reality behind these recurring hopes. It's not the polished, heartening story people want to hear, but it's the truth. The failure of these predictions isn't because of a lack of effort or desire within the family itself. Despite what many might think, the problem lies deeper. The goal being touted, the reunion, the restoration, was never really what was on the table. The vision that the public has been sold, that dream of seamless return or reconciliation, simply doesn't match the reality.
Our next guest has a long history with the royal family. Piers Morgan has met Andrew, knows his ex-wife Fergie, and their daughter as well. He joins us now on the phone. Hey, Piers, did you ever think it would come to this?
You know, I was beginning to fear it might, but when it actually happens, it is an absolute bombshell. I mean, to put this into context, there has been no member of the royal family arrested in my lifetime. I'm 60 years old.
Here's what's truly going on. The message given to the world has been about erasing Harry from the narrative, removing him entirely from the official family story, erasing him from the line of succession like he never existed in that space at all. But here's the twist. The system they operate within doesn't actually do erasure the way we imagine it. Instead of fully wiping someone away, what happens is a process of subtraction. Words can be carefully edited out. Mentions can be silently removed. Public appearances can grow scarce, but the underlying framework, the carefully constructed structure beneath it all, remains untouched. It's as if you take a word out of a sentence, but the sentence still stands strong, intact, unaffected, waiting quietly to be filled again. When that happens, the absence becomes a presence of its own, leaving a silent gap that tells a story just as clearly as if the words were still there. The big day finally shows up, yes, it really does. And when it does,
residents in Sandringham in Norfolk aren't happy. That's where Andrew will be moving, of course. They said yesterday, we don't want him here either. He is a horrible man. It is hard to know where you put Andrew.
It's now a matter of when, not if, he strips Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal titles.
Here's the question none of those countdown videos.
Get ready. because the letdown is going to be something else. Instead of fireworks or earth-shattering headlines, expect just a brief, almost underwhelming announcement from the palace, something quick and tidy. Maybe a subtle update on the official website, a couple of lines tucked away quietly in the court circular, barely attracting any attention. He'll adopt a new name, something like Henry Mountbatten Windsor, or similar, while she'll simply appear as Miss Markle on the official forms. It sounds so modest, almost anticlimactic, considering all the hype and speculation leading up to it. There will be one stunning afternoon filled with celebrations, the kind that fills the air with joy, music, and laughter, and yes, there will absolutely be plenty of cake. But here's the catch. When the sun rises the next day, he'll still hold his position, fifth in line to the throne of the United Kingdom, just as before. No radical changes.
I did think it would happen. If Harry and Meghan are watching, they should be incredibly concerned, because if it's this simple to take away Prince Andrew's titles, one day it could be this easy to take away Harry and Meghan's titles.
No dramatic moments that reshape history overnight. This is why the whole saga never quite lands the way you expect. Everyone hyping up these stories makes it sound like a complete upheaval, like a royal revolution. But the reality? The Constitution quietly insists on nothing more dramatic than a change of name and titles. It's a bit ironic, isn't it? The people pushing the countdown and bold predictions never really stop to mention the fine print, the small, steady truths that actually matter. And that, of course, brings us to the man quietly standing at the center of it all, the one holding the key to what actually comes next. Imagine a pen resting quietly on a desk, except this isn't just any pen. This pen holds the power to change lives. It has been there every day since Charles first took the throne. It's the very same pen he used without hesitation to formalize the end of his brother's royal journey, a decision made under intense scrutiny and pressure.
My sources are saying that William no longer recognizes his brother. He basically says he doesn't know who this kid is. Harry has become petulant, he's become vengeful, he's very angry at all times, and William's just kind of like, hey, who the heck are you? And yes, they do blame Meghan.
They are a danger, honestly. Take this lesson from what Fergie and Andrew have done over the past 3 decades and do not let history repeat.
Yet, when it comes to his own son, the son who shattered royal decorum on live television, openly accusing the family of deep-seated prejudice, publishing a tell-all book, and even producing a documentary that rattled the monarchy, there's been nothing. No official reprimand, no stern letter, no subtle tightening of public messages or palace statements. It's as if the ink refusing to spill signifies a deeper silence. This isn't just about paperwork, it's about fractured family dynamics and a legacy under fire. The son who dared to challenge the royal institution not only spoke his truth, but also took it to the courts, seeking justice and clarity, only to be turned away by the very system he questioned. Despite all this turmoil, the Styles, the once quiet, steadfast members in this royal narrative, remain exactly where they always were.
Charles needs to wake up, because what he's also doing, of course, is damning William to having his younger brother running a rival royal court in the United Kingdom. Because what else does he have to do, Lauren? That's the other issue here. Harry has nothing going for him in America. He has no work over there. He has no meaningful charity over there. His marriage is completely miserable. He is totally miserable. So unfortunately, this security decision means we will be seeing a hell of a lot of Harry in the United Kingdom. That is bad news for Prince William, who is trying to protect the monarchy.
Unshaken and unscathed by controversy. One way to interpret this silence is to see the king as a father struggling with a heart-wrenching dilemma, unable to sever ties with his youngest child despite a storm of reasons to do so. It paints a picture of a man torn between love, duty, and disappointment. But there's another, more cynical lens through which this could be viewed: a cold decision to let someone else wrestle with this headache. The king, it seems, has quietly passed the responsibility onward, leaving the mess to unsettle others, while he maintains a carefully crafted calm, untouched and unmoved by the upheaval so close to home. The story here is not just of a family in crisis, but of power, silence, and the unsaid that shapes history behind palace doors. This all feels oddly familiar, and it should. The late Queen Elizabeth carried the weight of the Andrew dilemma for nearly a decade, a shadow that lingered quietly, unresolved, throughout the final years of her reign. When she passed, that burden didn't disappear. Instead,
this scandal has been hiding in plain sight for 15 years. I was working at Murdoch's former newspaper, The News of the World, in a senior position in 2011. We revealed those pictures. Do you remember of Epstein and Andrew in Central Park in New York?
And Andrew went to see him and stayed with him, right? At his New York
with royal protection
townhouse.
officers. Do you see what I mean? This is where
After
the
the
deep
fact,
state is pulled into this.
it landed squarely on the desk of her son the moment he ascended to the throne. King Charles III suddenly found himself at the center of a storm not of his making, tasked with untangling a complex and delicate mess that had been decades in the making. Charles devoted the first 3 years of his reign, already shortened by the unexpectedness of events, to painstakingly addressing this legacy. Every step he took was a careful balancing act between loyalty, damage control, and the greater good of the crown. But now, shifting focus to his own generation, the story seems to be repeating itself. Take, for example, his encounter with Harriet Hike, an hour-long discussion that, to outside observers, appeared to change nothing. Not a single move was made, no resolution in sight. Whispers among experts, insiders, and royal commentators suggest that the real moment of reckoning will come with the next reign, and the next reign belongs to Prince William. His stance regarding his brother has been described in no uncertain terms as cold, steady, and unforgiving by voices ranging from Angela Levin, a respected royal biographer.
Because why have the police spent 15 years choosing not to investigate Andrew? Because they probably knew. What did Charles know? What files are included at Buckingham Palace? We're literally in unprecedented territory, Meghan. Terrible news for Harry and Meghan here is that William can now take away everything, their titles, without an act of parliament.
To the Sunday Times. And so, history is poised to repeat itself once more, with the next generation facing the same weighty, painful decisions left behind by the one before. The crown's hardest choices are always passed down, a silent legacy of turmoil and responsibility that each new monarch must resolve. The family falls apart piece by piece, and the heavy burden of the fallout is quietly handed down to the child who inherits the throne. It's almost too convenient a masterstroke that ensures the king goes down in history as the father who never cast out his son. But beneath that public image, there's a calculated move, making absolutely certain that the heir has no real choice but to carry the weight left behind. This is a moment that demands your attention, because what William is stepping into is far from a simple inheritance.
Harry needs to leave. The longer he stays, the worse it's going to get. They're not going to get to where they want to be, and it's just disaster for them. And also, I believe children in between all of this, they're the ones who are going to pay the bigger price for all of this later in life.
He's not just taking on a role or a title. He's inheriting a complicated and deeply personal relationship with a brother who lives as a constant shadow at his side. A brother he can embarrass in public, perhaps, but one he can never fully remove or erase from the story. Adding even more pressure to the situation, that brother's own children now stand firmly in line, 6th and 7th in succession to William's crown. The lineup is so long and intricate, it would require more than a dozen parliamentary sessions just to sort it all out. The weight of those names, that order, they're not just words on paper. William inherits every last one of them, every claim and complication wrapped up together. And through all this, he faces the reality of sharing a reign with someone who's geographically far away, living thousands of miles away in California, but still very much in the mix on official records.
I mean, as we revealed earlier in the week, he has now hired one of the country's most experienced crisis management PRs to work within his team at Kensington Palace day to day, because it shows you what he's expecting. He is expecting Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to set up a rival royal court, and thank God, actually, that he is preparing to fight fire with fire, because he knows that the future of the British royal family is at stake. And that's why I'm so disgusted, and I'm going to be honest with Charles and with the British government, because they should have just rejected Harry's security demands. They are ludicrous demands. He was always warned of the consequences.
This brother continues to hold the title of king's sibling. He remains, on paper and in history, a fixture of the royal family. And while his presence might be distant, it's never fully gone, lingering like an unshakable part of the legacy William now bears. Just one funeral away from relevance, a chilling phrase, isn't it? But this isn't some neat, tidy resolution. It's more like a tiny splinter, lodged so deep beneath the surface that no one can quite grasp it. And here's the twist. His father is deliberately leaving that splinter in his hand, an unspoken inheritance wrapped in silence and tension. This isn't about closure. It's about power and legacy playing out in the most subtle, almost invisible way possible. So, where does all this leave the frenzy, the ticking countdown that everyone keeps hyping up, that sense of an inevitable downfall? A grand reckoning.
Numerous massive crises of confidence for Harry, because he realizes, holy shit, this is what I'm facing. I believe that Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet need to be stripped and removed from the line of succession. One bill, and it would deal with Meghan and Harry, but also critically, Pete Diner, it would deal with Archie and Lily too.
Make no mistake, the gears turning behind the scenes, the appetite for change, it's very much real. The numbers back it up too. Take, for example, a poll published in The Times, revealing that 44% of people believe Harry should lose his title, compared to just 32% who think he should keep it. It shows a surprisingly strong undercurrent pushing for a shift, a recalibration of what form the monarchy should take. But who, exactly, would be the one to strip that title away? The image of the president looms large, stark and unmistakable, with his uncle's name emblazoned in black and white, an emblem of the line of power. Personally, I'm convinced the change in style, the real transfer of authority, happens under William's watch, not the current monarch's. It's a shift, yes, but a quiet one, a calculated transition rather than a dramatic upheaval. But here's the crucial thing to remember. Go into this with your eyes wide open. What lies ahead isn't some total erasure or a complete obliteration of legacy.
Give us back the Duchess of Sussex title. She wants to have the associations of the royal family and she wants to profit off that, with her brand and all of her marketing things that have Duchess of Sussex, but she doesn't want to do the work, and this is the issue.
The truth is, they need photos in Buckingham Palace or with royal members of the family, or as you said, feeding kids or whatever, because that's all they've got left to tout. Because the United States has had enough, the United Kingdom has had enough, Australia's had enough, everybody's had enough.
No, it's more like subtracting, trimming down, a careful pruning. They're not erasing an HRH who once paused and reconsidered his role, who stood at the edge and hesitated. It's about reshaping, redefining, and ultimately creating a new balance of power, one that moves beyond headlines and rumors into the realm of quiet, undeniable reality. Flashback 6 years ago, a time when titles and honors weren't just words on a page, but powerful symbols of legacy and authority passed down through generations. Imagine a princely style, a distinguished mark granted by a royal signature dating all the way back to 1917, a time when history was shaped by monarchs with deep-rooted traditions. This isn't just about fancy titles, it's about centuries of heritage, a legacy that once conferred immense respect and responsibility.
And he constantly is living this life of demanding extra because he's Prince Harry. Bro, when you left the royal family, you became some random dude. Keep it honest. Who was Prince Harry?
So many people, they want all the privileges, they want all of the honors, they want all the plaudits, but they don't want to do anything.
I think the palace and the machinery of the monarchy needs to take Harry and Meghan more seriously and make sure that Harry and Meghan's antics don't impact the future of the crown.
And yet, a dukedom, the next step up the royal ladder, still hangs in the balance, waiting for a decision that depends entirely on Parliament. But getting them to sit down and actually work through the layers of protocol and politics, that's a challenge that feels almost as old as the crown itself. Here's the key. No monarch, no king, no queen can simply wave a pen and rearrange the line of succession as they please. Not solo, not through a cabinet's nod, certainly not without the consent of 14 different countries, each with a stake in that lineage. This is a complex web of shared sovereignty and tradition that protects what is perhaps the most guarded position of all the place you hold in the royal line.
King Charles refuses to end Prince Harry's dream of a half-in, half-out return to royal life.
Not forget the Oprah performance.
Oh, yeah.
What?
They did what? These people?
How dark your baby was going
It was
to be?
ridiculous.
And this man, the one at the center of all this upheaval, he knows exactly how delicate and unshakable that position is. His boldness, some might even call it cheek, comes from a deep understanding of these unspoken rules. Fast forward to today, Harry, who at one point described himself with roles that range from full-time dad to veteran and even Prince of England. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Prince of England hasn't been a formal title for centuries. It simply doesn't exist in the legal sense anymore. Yet, despite that, he reached for it as though it were a casual badge he could wear like a piece of everyday kit. Some brush it off as casual banter, a bit of laddish humor, a wink to the crowd. And then there's all the chatter, the endless noise online about grooming or whether someone's hair color even matters.
I think that King Charles's meeting with Prince Harry ultimately, and I understand a man living with cancer, grandchildren, I get it, but I think ultimately it makes him look weak. And a lot of people are disappointed that Meghan gets to do a victory lap. That's the strength we're looking for in a future monarch. You know, standing by your principles, standing by your wife and your and protecting your family's peace, which is ultimately what he's doing, and keeping a distance between him and Prince Harry.
She is, anybody and everybody will tell you, the most demanding, narcissistic pain in the arse that there probably has ever been in royal circle. That whatever they do, whatever they say, whatever they promise, whatever they let us down on, they will never be held in the same esteem, not within an inch of the same esteem as Kate and William.
Let's be clear, whether someone has ginger hair or not truly doesn't change who they are or what they represent. It's irrelevant. In the grand scheme of things, nobody, absolutely nobody, should be defined or diminished by something as superficial as hair color. So,
the only reason he wants to come here, and everyone needs to realize this, is because his career has collapsed in the United States of America. Meghan Markle's dream of becoming a Hollywood billionaire in America has collapsed. It's over. The staff are leaving. The rats are abandoning this sinking ship.
His performance on that podcast, talking about his grooming, was really, you might forgive him.
Or people shitting themselves on a highway. It's the worst thing I've ever seen, Jobbo. I'm not exaggerating.
41, man, if you want to be taken seriously, start being a bit serious. He was supposed to be on that, whoever allowed him to go on there. I mean, I'm sure it's something he wants to do, but this laddish banter nonsense, and talking about your grooming and whether you're ginger or not, frankly, who cares if you're ginger or not? Nobody, Harry, nobody.
What do we take away from all this? Beyond the headlines and royal drama, this story is about legacy, identity, and the complex dance between tradition and modernity. It challenges us to look past titles and appearances, urging us to focus on the substance of who a person is and what they stand for. After all, history isn't just about crowns and ceremonies, it's about the people behind them and the stories they carry forward. If you found this story as intriguing as I did, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating tales, and share this video with friends who love a bit of regal drama. And hey, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think about this royal saga. Let's keep the conversation going.